Former NFL quarterback Colin Kapernick igniting a firestorm of controversy, but also a lot of publicity. Here to help us run down perhaps the strategy behind all this, Tony Chapman of TonyChapmanReactions.com. Good to see you, Tony.
Good to be here.
So here we go. We know that the world is talking about this. Never a bad thing for an ad campaign, but everything's become so polarized these days. Is this a dangerous move for Nike?
Very dangerous, very courageous. Brands very rarely want to get in the middle of a crossfire hurricane, especially when one side's Donald Trump and the NFL, who they happen to be a sponsor of. But I got to give them full kudos for doing it. They knew this was going to happen. They know people are going to be burning their Nikes and boycotting. And how could you possibly stand beside this person that kneels in front of kneels at a national anthem? But I think they made the right choice.
Now, it's interesting these days when everyone's trying to find a way to get their brand out there and get an idea in the consumer's mind of what their brand is. You have some ideas here about the one that really struck me, brand as voice. As we said, in these polarized times, it seems harder and harder for corporations not to take a stand on an issue because everything's become politics.
I mean, they try not to, because in the social media world, very easily you can get a million Davids and a lot of social media slingshots and starts to hurt your brand. Why has Nike done this? And that's what I said. The first time I heard this, I said, why would they go out and do it? Well, you could say the cynic in you, economically, they're not playing to the NFL customer, the aging white guy that buys a pair of sneakers every 2 years. Their market spends about $400 per person, much younger demo, and a demo that's absolutely on the side of things aren't going right in America. This is a demo that's looking and saying that that older generation has messed up, and all the rhetoric that's coming out of the White House. So they're playing right into their target market. But brands as a voice, the thing that I'm also interested in is the fact that maybe now, especially when you still have a founder attached to your brand, maybe it's time we start using some of our connections to the public and start saying, hey, what we stand for is about freedom. It's about just doing it. It's about the American dream that anything's possible. That's what we stand for, and that's not really what it seems like America's standing for. So maybe our voice has to extend beyond selling hoodies.
Now, when Nike takes a look at this in the short term, obviously the stock pulled back a little bit. There's some of those concerns. The longer term, though, a lot of the analysis that I've seen has suggested that this will be good for Nike. For those reasons, they basically, are they making the right bet here on who their customer is and how you speak to that customer? Don't worry about the rest of them.
Absolutely. And I think the stock market price is a speed bump. Great brands, they know who they are and they know who they're not. And they never waver from that position, where we see a lot of other people going, I'm going to go after that short-term results. I'll just stretch a little bit. This is Nike saying this is firmly entrenched. So you start thinking the next day, how do the employees feel about working for Nike? How about people at retail, where you come in and say, what do you recommend? Who are they going to recommend? They're going to recommend the one that they feel has the greatest moral compass, the values, that emotional connection. Lots of competition. Adidas, Puma, New Balance, Under Armour, all of these people coming along, and Nike's saying, you know what, I'm actually going to focus a little bit more on the heart versus who's got the latest, greatest waffle shoe or celebrity endorsement.
Nike is a maverick when it comes to their advertising. We know that. They like to put themselves out there. Is what they're up to right now powerful enough to change the way other businesses do it, or will other businesses still try to play the entire field and not try to alienate anybody?
I have to imagine that what they did, and I think it's beyond advertising. Again, they're going up against the NFL, let's say that kind of Republican base, and Donald Trump. They're going to be studied. Not only are they going to be studied for the next 10 years in universities, boardrooms right now are looking at it because there might be saying this might be a better way to connect to my consumer. The day-in transaction, who can sell it cheapest doesn't win. And I get a credit. I hope that even within this NAFTA environment, I'd like to see some major multinationals stand up and start using their voice to say, guys, politicians, get your head out of the sand, stop with the rhetoric. We both need this deal to get done. And I would like to see that the fact that this might be the sign of the times where brands realize that they have a greater good than just simply selling their goods.